not adjust your phone or TV set. We are actually on time. It is not a mistake. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. I am Tom Connors. With me, as always, is the boss man, Andre. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, although it feels early somehow. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit earlier than we normally start, but we're all alone here. So we'll see who shows up and joins us this morning. But we do
It's
have
just
some,
us and the hamsters.
yeah, the zombie hamsters this month. We do have some regulars in the chat, I see. So good morning, everybody. Hail, 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 one and all. I know it's Willie Woodward's birthday today. I don't know if he's here yet this morning. One of our loyal wrenches and good friend of the channel is celebrating a birthday. So happy birthday, Willie. Hopefully you get a chance to hear this.
Happy birthday. And also, Geordie is back again after some absence, so that's awesome. Welcome back, Geordie.
Yes, good to see you, Geordie. But we've got some people already here this morning. Let's not waste any time. Philip M. sent us in a very generous super chat. Holy cow, right off the bat. Way to get things rolling this morning. $50. Good morning, panel. Deeply curious, Amazon, Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery curious. How so much good money can go towards these disastrous productions? What makes them so blind? Is it groupthink, bad taste? Are they scrambling to find the youth market? Well, Philip, we kind of discuss this quite often. But Andre, I think you could probably give a surmised version of what we kind of believe the issue is right now in Hollywood.
There are several issues going on at the same time, actually. But let's just ignore all of those other issues for the time being and just speak from a pure investment perspective. How can something like this happen? And that actually I can explain. Before I do, let's say welcome to Script Doctor, who's also joining us here.
Speaking of Inside Hollywood, we have the one, the only Script Doctor. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry for my tardiness. I was helping a client. How can I help?
Should be.
That's excellent. Well, first you can just listen to as I go through the question on screen from a purely financial perspective, ignoring everything else, just purely from an investment perspective. How can they do stuff like the Rings of Power and waste so much money on one thing, put so much in one basket? Well, I'll tell you. Because you have to consider it from a pure investment point of view. Because really, what is Hollywood and film production? It's another wing of the investment industry. Some people invest in shares, some people invest in commodities, some people invest in electricity, power, sugar, what have you, and some people invest in entertainment products. That's what this is. And so what they want to do is to make sure that they invest into the right funds with the right fund managers that have the proven track record. Now, if we just look at the Rings of Power, the guys there, they don't have any kind of track record, but they have a sponsor in J.J. Abrams, and he has a track record. And so what they do is basically they say, okay, J.J. Abrams approves of these guys. This is the hottest shit in Hollywood. Remember, they made this decision in 2017, right? This is before the rise of Skywalker. He hadn't been exposed yet, which means they thought this was a good thing they were investing in. So basically, all of the metrics that you want to look for when doing an investment, all of those boxes were checked. And then once they were down that hole, that's when the bills start accruing. But then they have already said yes to the first thing, and then it just accumulates from there. So that's from a pure investment perspective. Script, you want to supplement that?
Sure. Let's use a film analogy to describe it because I think it's a very apt one. The movie The Producers, written by Mel Brooks, J.J. Abrams is Matt Bialystock. He gets a bunch of investors. They put on a production that is big budget, but it doesn't make any money. So they don't have to pay out any profits to the people that invested into it. And that's why we're seeing such high price tags with a number of entities that are associated with the bad robot formula. Literally, J.J. Abrams doesn't even have his own original idea. He stole a gag from Mel Brooks and has used it over the course of his entire career, and it's worked for him. And nobody has caught on fast enough yet. Because that's basically the only way you can explain it, is how can you throw so much money behind something that has so little return of results, but has a great amount of deal of social credit, so to speak, within the trades, within the community of the industry. The fact that he's able to do these productions and he sells them well, that people just buy into the to the prestige that he's presenting. And he's very fortunate that he hasn't had a hit, because if he did, he'd probably lose Bad Robot, because we don't know where all this money is going. We don't know why the studios are so eager to invest and have their cohorts invest so much into these projects. The only one that hasn't been working right now is really Star Trek 4 that I can think of. But it's the fact that the social sphere of things, J.J. Abrams has done a very successful job of selling himself as the director of the 21st century, the next person to herald a new age within film, and yet he's never really delivered. But he's played politics very well to make it appear that he has, and I think that direction is changing. It is, but
Yeah,
he has
I
a
agree
lot
with
of people that he has a lot of people that have started with him that have been seeded like a parasite across multiple studios. It's quite a
Well,
evil supervillain-esque level plan.
and we've brought that up several times, and some people will even be quick to be like, well, Bad Robot doesn't even have anything to do with this production, i.e. Lord of the Rings recently. But what did we find out in the recent Puff piece is exactly what we had told people. We'd said this, 2 years ago?
Oh,
That
yeah.
J.J. Abrams got these motherfuckers this job? And what did they say? J.J. Abrams got us this job? Like, they didn't even, hint at it. It was like, yeah, we put in a phone call to J.J. and he helped us out.
And also, let's not forget the producer of the show. And this is something they haven't really spoken much about, but that's Lindsay Weber. She is the one who said, it's only natural to us that a Middle Earth, a mythological England from thousands of years ago, that reflect LA today. She actually said the world, but she meant my postcode in LA. She's Bad Robot.
Yeah.
You have the gangs
that's
all
what
there.
we tried telling everybody, yeah.
And the other thing to note is that J.J. Abrams' parents, even though they have a couple of production credits, they're primarily real estate agents. They know how to sell people property, especially stuff that is not well maintained.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's
that's what I
how
mean.
J.J. met Steven Spielberg. I believe his parents sold Spielberg one of his houses that that one of the paychecks for, I think, Jaws allowed him to purchase. Like, that's how they made that connection, because you go back far enough, there's no reason these two families would have ever met if it wasn't for something kind of weird. And I know realtors, they do this type of stuff. They try to make personal connections, and they came to the point where, they sold Steven Spielberg a house, and they became quote unquote friends for the short time, which is a type of sales tactic used in retail. And then all they say is, hey, yeah, we got a kid. He's like 10 years old. If you need a babysitter, just give us a call. And then, boom, you got your kid wedged into the family of one of the most hot directors in town.
Exactly.
And you just roll that over and over again.
Yeah, because the thing, I'm glad you brought up realtors, because if you've seen any kind of reality show dealing with real estate agents in LA and stuff like that, selling Sunset and that crap that you may be forced to watch by your wife, I certainly am. Those are people that deal with very, very rich clients, and they call them my clients. I have a client who this, that. That's someone that they have a professional relationship with. That's because they see, oh, wow, this is someone super rich. This is someone that I get along good with. So I'm going to keep a relationship with them, keep in touch, be kind of like friends. So when they're in the market next time, 5 years hence, they're going to give me a call, and I'm going to get that commission too. That's really what's like the unifying thing here. And it just goes back to what I said to begin with. It's a matter of investments. It's like the investment industry, and that's what all of this is, and that's how these connections form. So this, of course, is then the example of J.J. Abrams. But you will have similar things going on with Paramount and Star Trek. There, they also got into the J.J. Abrams business, so that's also derived from that. With Disney, you don't have the J.J. Abrams connection that much, although it's still there. But there, they found other ways of screwing up, the way that they do right now with Star Wars, for instance. And in that case, it's a matter of that is their hottest brand. They have to monetize it because they spent $4.05 billion acquiring it. And that's not something that they paid in one go. That's paid with bank loans and stuff like that, where you basically have a mortgage to pay. And in order to justify the investment, they have to keep on monetizing it, which means you have to keep pumping product out. Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, you had another ideologue, someone who looked good on paper running that show, but who in the end wasn't.
And right there, I think, is one point you hit on. Amazon, Disney, Warner. What they all have in common, and you could throw in Universal in there, is they all have either a parent company and or are a parent company with a lot of subsidiaries that basically save a lot of the other bullshit. We learned more recently about Disney. We always knew they made a lot of money from the parks and stuff, but we didn't realize the big chunk of money that comes just from ESPN alone. Like, that pretty much floats the entire company because of the advertising revenue that comes in for football and stuff like that. So you have that kind of a situation. Warner Brothers is backed by AT&T. Amazon, well, it's just fucking Amazon, right? And
it's backed by the Prime delivery service. That's
exactly. Like, at that point, like, as we said in our recent, or I think it's an upcoming video we got here, we will be saying anyway, and point out that Amazon's going to be fine if Lord of the Rings fails. Their entertainment department, on the other hand, will take a huge blow, and that's
I think we pointed that out in the previous
whichever video. One it was. We did 3 videos so close in succinction that I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll revisit it in the part 3, and what we're talking about, of course, is then going through this massive Hollywood Reporter spin piece. Part 2 of which we dropped a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, and basically, though, the bottom line is, though, Amazon will be fine, but people like Jennifer Sulky will have to worry about their fucking jobs on the other end of this, because will there be an Amazon Studios is the question on the other end of this, and that's what's going on here. You have a bunch of companies that are basically owned by these huge corporations that a lot of these failures can be written off for a while, and they can be merged and sold away for a little while. But as we're learning with Warner Brothers, like with Zaz sifting through their nonsense, I'm sure he's learned about a lot more bullshit than, and that's probably where this one lawsuit's coming from as well. I'm sure Warner's in a lot more debt than they ever tried to pretend to be.
I think they all are. You know what this looks like to me? The whole streaming thing? It has all the hallmarks of a bubble that's going to burst.
Yep, like a housing bubble. Yep.
Yeah.
And I agree with you there, because there's only so much real estate, getting back to the real estate talk, there's only so much real estate for these things. And sooner or later, something's going to give. Now, some of them are starting to prepare for this already. Paramount, if you listen to like some of the things they've said, they're not going to do as much proprietary stuff for Paramount for that very reason, that they know they need outside revenue. Sony has not bought into this business because they kind of learned early on with Crackle that there was no money in it. The only money comes in from places like Amazon and Netflix, and that's why they stick with Netflix mainly. And I said Paramount's the other ones who's kind of doing the same thing. Disney, Warner, though they're dancing a very dangerous game here, but they've got other avenues to support them. Universal, they're just kind of chilling back. Universal's probably the best as far as like having the least amount of problems.
Their problem really is only their content, not so much their infrastructure.
Yeah, and even their content still makes money, right? Like they had a couple $1 billion hits recently with Jurassic World and Minions, and they can do that every other year. So